told his cheering supporters that his next goal was a victory in Illinois.
My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there.
And then he left through the hotel's kitchen. There in the shadows with the Saturday Night Special waited Sirhan Bashara Sirhan.
Be very careful. Get the gun. Get the gun. Get the gun. Stay away from the gun. Get the gun.
Once again, the crackle of gunfire. Once again, the long journey home, the hushed procession, the lowered flags and harrowed faces of a nation in grief. Once again, the simple question, why? For the young people in particular, the assassination seemed to confirm all their lingering suspicions that society could not be reformed by democratic means.
2 years later, those lingering suspicions were reinforced. In the climate of 1970, the demonstration at Ohio's Kent State University was almost routine. But Governor James Rhodes, in the midst of a tight Senate race, called out the National Guard.
Within seconds, a sickening staccato of rifle fire signaled the transformation of a once placid campus into the site of an historic American tragedy. 4 students died and several others were wounded. With almost manic abruptness, the nation seemed, as Yeats once wrote, all changed utterly.
And then came Watergate. Time's Nation department had never seen anything like it, and neither had the nation itself. At least 30 cover stories dealt with the issue, second only to cover stories about American wars. The historic political scandal prompted Time, for the first and only time in its history, to run a formal editorial. Its message was blunt and startling, both to the nation and to Richard Nixon himself. The president should resign.
Richard Nixon and the nation have passed a tragic point of no return. It now seems likely that the president will have to give up his office. The nightmare of uncertainty must be ended. A fresh start must be made. It would show the ability of a badly infected political system to cleanse itself. It would show the true power of popular government under law in America.
But 9 agonizing and protest-filled months would pass before Nixon finally agreed to step down. The Constitution of the United States had weathered perhaps its most severe test. And as Gerald Ford took over the reins of government, Time magazine shared with millions of other Americans the relief and the pride of realizing that our system could survive.
The departure of Nixon was, above all, an extraordinary triumph of the American system. Just after he had sworn in the new president, Chief Justice Warren Burger grabbed the hand of Senator Hugh Scott. Hugh said, "Burger, it worked. Thank God it worked." He meant the system.
Yes, we all survived. The system, the nation, and the magazine. Perhaps, as you heard the words of Time magazine reporting on some of the most serious events in American history, you noticed a style of phrasing and writing that is, to say the least, unique. Well, as Al Jolson told us in The Jazz Singer, you ain't heard nothing yet. There's even a name for that special turn of phrase that sets off Time's reporting. It's a little something called Time Style. Time Style was basically the brainchild of co-founder Britt Haddon, who 60 years ago agreed with Harry Luce that if Time were to survive, it had to be different. And boy, was it different. Dozens of words, first used or coined by Time, have become a part of everyday English.
George Washington Hill, tobacco tycoon, bought $2 million worth of life insurance.
Tycoon, from the Japanese. A shogun, a great lord.
Engaged, Joan Whitridge, granddaughter of poet pundit Matthew Arnold.
Pundit, from the Indian or Sanskrit, a learned man or teacher.
The automobile belonged to Seymour Knox, Buffalo socialite.
Socialite, a word coined by Time magazine, one who is socially active.
Just a few of the words coined or brought into common usage by Britt Haddon and his successors at Time. But perhaps the most effective and distinctive form of Time style is the use of descriptive words to paint visual images that could be captured by no form of camera. Actor John Gielgud, a sensitive and intelligent Englishman of 32 with a nose the size of a hockey puck. Button-nosed, pugnacious, curly-headed, loose-jawed, incredible Huey Long. In the speaker's chair when the new Reichstag met for its first business session this week sat 210 pounds of fascism. Not merely fat, but broad, big-boned, and mighty-muscled, Speaker Hermann Goering cut the figure of a squat ogre. Time style added that touch of gusto needed to set the magazine apart, to give it the quotability and readability that made most readers keep coming back for more. And in no area of reporting did Time write with more gusto than when it chronicled the events in American life we can collectively call culture. In Time, these events were reported in departments with names like art and music and sport and cinema and video. And taken all together, they probably told more about America and Americans at any given period than all the other news in the magazine combined. Take, for example, the frenzy that gripped the whole nation with the untimely death of movie idol Rudolph Valentino. Valentino was just 31 when he died following an emergency appendectomy in 1926, and Time was just 3. But the elements of Time style were already evident.
As it must to all men, death came to Rudolph Valentino, chic. Manhattan's traffic was choked with grieving thousands as his body was taken to the undertakers, where it underwent the same special process that perpetually preserves the corpse of Enrico Caruso.
Wait a minute, I tell you. You ain't heard nothing. You want to hear Toot Toot Tootsie? All right, hold on, hold on. Toot Toot Tootsie, goodbye. Toot Toot Tootsie, don't cry.
Just a year would pass between the death of the greatest star of silent films and the birth of talking pictures. With Al Jolson leading the way as the jazz singer, talkies swept the nation. But Time still held a warm spot for the silent genius of Charlie Chaplin.
Although City Lights is a successful silent challenge to the talkies, its success derives solely from the little man with the battered hat, bamboo cane, and black mustache. Critics agree that he, whose posterior would probably be recognized by more people throughout the world than any other man's face, will be doing business after talkies have been traded in for television.
An interesting observation for an age when television was only a gleam in the eye of science fiction readers. Another of Time's heroes of American culture was author Ernest Hemingway. Another was Spanish painter Pablo Picasso. But the magazine also recognized that his work might not be for everyone.
The very name of Picasso has been a symbol of irresponsibility to the old, of audacity to the young. To millions of solid citizens, it has been one of the two things they know about modern art. The other being that they don't like it.
Saturday night is the loneliest night of the week. I sing the song that I sang for the memories I usually see.
Other folk heroes were treated with somewhat less reverence. A favorite Time target was leather-lunged singer Frank Sinatra.
Saturday night is the loneliest night of the week.